life, sex, goals, and oh, hell knows, this is Midlife Craving. Can I be honest? I know I have exhausted this whole like Princess Jasmine / Aladdin reference like at this point, but holy shit, I feel like I'm living in a whole new world. Since my last episode with Kat and Ams from Two Hot Wives podcast, I feel like Pandora's box has been open for me. And let me tell you, I am here for it. So much fun to be had, so little time. Let's get right into my 5-minute orgasm. My 5-minute orgasm is where I unload all the latest in my life. And you know, I always got a lot going on, but I've been having a whole lot of fun lately too. Like I said in my last episode, I am currently on a mission to find a primary play partner, a casual but consistent cock in my life. Yes, I have Baywatch, and he isn't going anywhere, but you know, he lives an hour away. He travels a lot. Our nights together are amazing, but once or twice a month isn't enough for me. And we are both 100% on the same page when it comes to our arrangement, and we've discussed everything in detail. Also, any addition in my life, they're going to have to be okay with me, you know, in my time with him, because yeah, I ain't giving that up. Basically, cravers, I am looking for a perfect world scenario. Kind of like having my cake and eating it too. But you know what? I'm fucking worth it. And I think I can find it. Actually, no, I know that I can. And I'll let you know how my mission is going along the way. Believe me. I actually got on that Field app that Ams recommended, and that's definitely a better space for me. Unlike Tinder, Hinge, or any other vanilla app, I've been meeting some pretty hot guys, and this weekend I actually have a date with one of them, so we're going to have to see how that goes. I got to say, you know, like, I love how freeing it is to be so blunt and matter of fact, you know, like, hey, I'm looking to get laid consistently. I want a partner open to my ideas, you know, sex swings and role playing and milk tables. Oh my, you know, like, I want that shit. I want to say too, I think I'm a little late for this, but I took the BDSM test to find out what kind of, what do they call it? A sexual deviant that I am. And let me just say, like, my results, they were spot on. You can take this test too at bdsmtest.org. It only takes a few minutes, and it's actually kind of fun to answer the questions. One of them is, are you someone that only answers zeros or tens? And I'm like, yep, that's me. Like, I'm either all in or all out. Like, I had very few that were in the middle. But so I learned that I am 100% a brat. I know that sounds like negative, but it's not. And so what is a brat, right? So in definition that they have, brats are in essence naughty submissives. I mean, that sounds just like me. They find disobedience a form of playfulness rather than letting their dominant down, and require a compatible dominant who will not only teach them a lesson, but also accept that any number of lessons might still not necessarily change this behavior. Honestly, I'm getting kind of turned on thinking about that because that's right up my alley. Like, fuck yes, that is me. You know, it made me think of like one of my favorite things to do with Mr. July. I would love to talk a bunch of shit to him. I mean, I'm a major shit talker in bed anyway, but I would like tease him to get him to fuck me so hard that it would make me shut the fuck up. I would say things like, you like that this pussy is yours? And he would like shake his head yes as he was fucking me. And I'm not happy with that response, like that nonverbal response. I wanted words. So I would say to him again, like, you fucking love this pussy, don't you? And I could see like him getting a little bit more frustrated and is like, you know, stop talking to me. I'm fucking you. And he would get more aggressive and fuck me harder. And then it would like get to a point where he was fucking me so hard that it was impossible for me to talk. And hey, my mission was accomplished. I would boost him up afterward and tell him how like, you know, you're the only person that can get me to shut the fuck up. Now, after taking that test, I know that was just me being a brat, and he was my brat tamer, a damn good one at that. Oh, God, I just want to do that right now. Like, talk shit, get fucked really hard, make me shut the fuck up. Speaking of taming my ass and fucking me good, I have got to share my incredible weekend that I had with Baywatch. Holy shit, like we had so much fucking fun. In fact, I was thinking about it and I'm like, wow, that was a lot. I've said it before and I'll absolutely say it again. What I adore most about Baywatch is how incredibly open and free he is. anything I suggest or want, he is all in. And bonus, like he'll surprise me with things that he wants to do. And it's just a fucking blast. So when I was with Kat and Ams, I noticed, I don't know, like everything had really great lighting. There was great lighting everywhere, like in the room we were recording in and in the bedroom and downstairs. And just everywhere had like really thoughtful lighting with things. And I remember Mr. Ams was showing me, hey, we can make it red and we can make it blue. And I love that. So I was like, hey, lighting's important. So Baywatch comes over and I already had things set up. I brought him upstairs and I had my like my daughter's star machine on. So it's looking like a fucking galaxy in the ceiling. But I'm not gonna lie, like it set the mood. Like Kat and Ams, you gals know what you're doing over there. And the room was like absolutely glowing. I was ready to get it on and I immediately got naked and I wanted to surprise him with an upside down blowjob, which is honestly one of my favorite things to do because it is a great angle for throat fucking. I think this was his first time doing it because he was like so fucking excited. It was adorable. And I mean, what man wouldn't be, right? He's such a good lover too, because like when I was sucking his dick, and he was fucking my throat so good. And I even told him, I was like, like hold my throat so you can like feel your cock sliding in and out. Like that position is so fucking hot. Anyway, but during all this, he was like rubbing my clit. He's just like so attentive to things and it was hot as fuck. I was ready to go and I was like, let's fucking fuck. So I flipped over and I started kissing him hard and I'm like, let's go. Like I want penetration. He stops me, looks at me and he says, "You're not going to deny me my favorite meal right now." went down on me and I'm just like, God fucking bless you. Like God bless that man. It was so hot and so good. Like I was so fucking turned on from like the blowjob and the environment. Like everything was just fucking hot. I came so hard that I actually like squirted in his mouth. He was like, "Oh my God, Adrian." He's like, "I fucking love it." He's like, "I fucking love it." And he immediately like came up. I was like licking his lips. I mean, fluids everywhere. It was so fucking hot. And he just like starts nailing me. And I keep finding, it was funny. He was like, "You like this fucking sideways position." But I do, like, I'm definitely favoring that. So he was fucking me sideways. And this time, like I told him once before, I was like, "Hey, like I know we're so into each other. And we like want to, I don't know, we just are so into it. He just finishes. I was like, "But I really want you to come on my face." And he perfectly like pulled out. I assumed the position and he came all over my face. It was chef's kiss. We then got dressed and we went to one of my favorite dives down the street. And I realized when I was there, like in the bathroom, there's like dried up cum all over my neck. And to be honest, like I fucking like that shit. So I was like, oh my God, like that was fucking hot. So we're at the bar having a great time. And he realizes, he's like, "Hey, my cousin's not home. Like they're out. They went to a wedding." And since that night that we arm wrestled in his like garage gym or whatever, like I've always talked about fucking on his weight bench. And Baywatch was like, "Let's fucking go. It's right down the street." So we pull up and I noticed that like when we were in the backyard, there was a camera looking over the back patio. And I was like, "Hold up, skirt." I was like, "Pit stop, motherfucker." I had him stand on this step. It was like the perfect height for me to be standing and blow him. It was such a turn on knowing that the Ring camera was there recording us. And it was so fucking funny because like a few minutes later, his cousin was messaging us like, "What are you two doing? What are you guys doing? Are you fucking sucking dick on the back porch, Adrian?" And then he was like, "Do not fuck on my weight bench." It's like, yeah, go ahead and just add fuel to our fire. So it was funny because he was like, "You guys," he's like, "the garage is locked." And we like walk over to the garage and the keys in the door. We're like, yes, success. So we snuck in there and we were walking over to the weight bench and I noticed this like floor length mirror and I was like, oh, hell yeah. And I dropped right to my knees and started sucking his dick again. I definitely have an obsession with sucking dick in a mirror. To me, it's more of a turn on for myself. Like I look really hot with a cock in my mouth. So I love watching that. Then we made it over to the bench and Baywatch was like, "Hey, I want to do a set while you're riding my cock." I'm like, okay. I don't think we even changed the weight. I have no idea how much weight was on there, but it was seriously fucking ridiculous. Like there was so much going on. I was like riding his cock, weights are being lifted. It was like all of the noises. I mean, it was fucking fun. And then I like flipped over and got on the bench. But before I could really think about it, I just like put my legs up, like, like fuck me. And I didn't think to tuck my knees under the bar or to at least tuck my legs under the bar. And I got lost with like how hot everything was. And he was like fucking nailing me. And also like the view of his cock like sliding in and out. It was like some mouth-watering shit, but my shins took like an extreme beating against that bar. Like the next day I had like a perfect line across my shins from that bar. I was like, shit. And like they were sore, but you know what? Fucking worth it. We went back to the bar and I actually think we left our fucking tab open. And we just had a great time. We were hanging out with friends. Uncle Mo was there. And we realized it was karaoke night. And Baywatch was like, hell yeah, I'm in. I mean, again, he's just down for anything. He sang that song, Hey There, Delilah, like at the top of his lungs. It was so fucking fun. We were of course talking to his cousin and stuff, and he was like, hey, we're gonna get home. He was like, come on over. And so we went over there and crashed like the wedding after party. And then next thing I know, we're on our way to like a country line dancing bar. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, I don't even know what time it was, 11 o'clock at that point. And he's like trying to teach me the two-step. I'm like, wow, like what? What a fucking night. Like, God damn. I think we finally got home at like 2 o'clock in the morning and I was fucking tired. It was such a blast though. Like I was like, wow, we really got a lot done in a short amount of time. The next morning I made breakfast. We drank mimosas and then beers. Listened to music. One of the things I love about Baywatch is he's always like, listen to this new song, or I have this new playlist I want you to hear. And it was a fucking gorgeous day. And we just chilled on the patio like the entire afternoon. I remember I was sitting there and the sun was shining. It was like the perfect fall day. And I just thought to myself, like, wow, I'm fucked, freshly fucked, feeling amazing. Life is damn good. And I want to say, like, I've been having a lot of those happy moments lately. I've had a really like rough last year and a half. I talk a lot about that on my show. And finally, I'm at peace. I'm having so much fun. I am right where I need to be in life. Pure contentment. And that's a great fucking place to be. All right, let's get it on, Cravers. My best friend, ride or die. Help me bury the body. My motherfucking soulmate in the world, Katina, is back.
Thanks for having me, girl.
Thank you so much for coming back on the show, sister. You are everything to me. And I really wanted to have you on to talk about something that's been a big part of my life in this last year. And you see me through it every step of the way. And that's going through my breakup, specifically with Prince Charming. I know a breakup is no fun, and why talk about it? But I feel like it's something a lot of people don't address. They just want to hurry up and move on. And in reality, it's a lot to go through. It's a big motherfucking shift in your life, and it's a lot of pain. It's a lot of shit to go through. And, I'm not afraid to talk about hard things.
Yes, we know this.
So let's fucking talk about it. Also, many of my listeners, Katina, they reach out to me and they're like, they're unhappy, whether it's like in a relationship, a marriage, or they feel like something's missing in their life. Honestly, that's like one of the biggest reasons why I started this podcast is they're just craving more like me. So I feel like this is something really good to talk about.
Absolutely. We've both been there. So.
Yeah, a couple times.
We won't say how many.
Yeah. I just think that, you're in this phase of life, like this midlife where you really start to question things and you think to yourself, like, am I okay with this being my forever? That's a really fucking daunting question, by the way. And I know a lot of people think it and they don't want to think about it. And it's a really hard question to answer for yourself. But, time starts to really speed up and then you look back and you think, holy shit, half my life is over. And like, am I making the most of it? It sounds funny because I was listening to Pink Floyd. Like, there is more I listen to other than just Wu-Tang. And the lyrics of their song Time, it kind of like stopped me in my tracks when I heard it. So this song is basically about like mortality. And it's about, you realize how you're no longer preparing for things in life. You're just right in the middle of it all. And holy shit, like that resonates with me big time. So I wrote down some of the lyrics. So it goes, "You are young and life is long, and there is time to kill today. And then one day you find 10 years have got behind you. No one told you when to run. You've missed the starting gun." And like, that's how like when I heard that, I was like, oh, like it's like a gut punch because it's like, it's so fucking true. Like 10 years ago, nobody told me like, hey, it's time to start running, like get yourself together, catch up, time's flying by. And then all of a sudden, there it is. Like this midlife is just, you just think like, shit, fuck, damn.
Yeah. Well, I think when you get to our age too, you really start thinking about those things. Like, is this really where I want to be? Like, you want to live the rest of your life to the fullest. And you feel like not waste it.
Yeah. And you feel like, am I behind?
Yeah. What am I missing out on?
Right. How did all that time go by so fast? And what the fuck am I doing? I think relationships are perhaps the biggest specimen under our microscopes at this stage of life as well. So much changes, so much evolves in your 30s. And all of a sudden, many of us find ourselves in unhappy relationships. Ooh, sexless marriages. That's
absolutely. There's a lot of those.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Toxic environments, breaking up and friends and all of this shit. It's fucking hard to do. I mean, especially now, like midlife, because, you have kids involved.
Yes.
You have families, you have family ties, you're that ever gripping comfort zone.
Yeah,
like
everything's
that,
interconnected.
yes.
It is, especially when you have kids.
And that comfort zone that you've like built your life around, and all of a sudden like you feel trapped in it, and it's like, should I stay or should I go? And I was like thinking to myself, like, should I stay or should I go now? If I go, there will be trouble.
It's a good song,
That's
by the way.
That's fucking me, by the way. Like, oh shit, Adrian's gone. She is fucking trouble. And that has been like the epitome of me over the last few months. But I'm having fun. Fuck it. I don't care.
Absolutely should. No doubt.
Let's get right into it. All about breakups. But before we do, I can tell you something that I will never be breaking up with. My toys. If you've listened to my Sex Toy 101 episode, you know my love for them. And you can get some of my very favorites on adamandeve.com. You can use the code CRAVERS, that's CRAVERS, for 50% off one of most of all of the items on their website, 3 free gifts, access to 6 movies, and free shipping. That's code CRAVERS, CRAVERS, at adamandeve.com. Go get you some. They ain't gonna let you down.
Yeah,
they're not gonna break your heart. Your
That's
achy,
right.
breaky heart. Okay, so I want to start off by talking about, when do you break up? When do you like start to say like, all right, I'm ready to leave that comfort zone? And I personally, I don't know if it was like when I got out of my marriage or when I started thinking this way, but I thought there was like 2 key things for me, like whenever you're ready to break up or get divorced or whatever. So the first one is really important, and I think this is the biggest one, is you're perfectly fine seeing your partner with someone else. And I mean, really think about that, right? Like seeing them move on. Be affectionate with someone else. Share their life, events, holidays with another person. And don't fucking forget, like if you have kids involved, they're sharing that part of their life as well. If you have no feelings about that, I'd say for sure it's time to move on. In fact, a lot of my listeners reach out and they say, Adrian, I feel like I'm trapped. I feel like I'm stuck. And, should I move on? What should I do? And I think a lot of people feel like it was easy for me to move on in my life, and it wasn't. I'm going to talk about that today. I think that's why I want to talk about it, because it's not easy. But if you can see your partner doing those things, I mean, you left, when I first met you, you were married. And like, did you ever think that to yourself? I'm ready to move on.
I used to try to get my ex to do, like that show Sister Wives where you add more wives. I thought, this motherfucker can add some wives and then I can just get out the door. Yeah. But it didn't bother me. The thought of that did not bother me at all.
Yes,
and there was actually some sincerity to it, because I thought, I'll get this wife to do the dishes, this one to pick up the kids. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to work this shit and then maybe I can scoot on out the fucking door. But I did think about that. It wasn't more about, so much about him being with someone as it was he's more companion oriented, and I knew he was going to need somebody, so I was like, maybe if I just
but you had no feelings
put somebody
about
there,
thinking of him with
no,
someone else,
absolutely
right?
not.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was hoping he would move on first because it would be easier to leave, because he didn't want me to leave. So
I think
yeah,
there's a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but I will just say, like, if you can really think about that and you're perfectly fine,
Absolutely.
It's time to move on.
It is. And I think if you can see it from that objectively, I feel like you almost go through stages when you're in a bad relationship. It's, you go through the depression.
It's like the mornings, like the grieving stages.
It is. Yeah. There's a lot of anger there. And then it's kind of like the moving on phase, definitely.
So my other number 2 thing that I think, when it's time for you to break up is, and it's when the alternative becomes worse, right? So meaning that staying in the relationship is actually harder than facing the unknown of what life is going to be when you leave. That's really ultimately a big reason why people stay, is because they're scared of the unknown. Am I going to spend the next 10 to 20 years of my life alone now? Am I going to step out of something that's really comfortable, and who knows what's out there? And everyone talks about dating disasters, and I think people are ultimately scared to be alone. So that's a big thing. But when the alternative becomes worse, like staying, that's when I mean,
I agree.
Yeah,
definitely. I think you have to be ready to be alone. You do.
Oh, yeah.
You have to face that and say, can you be alone? Because that's ultimately what should happen after you leave.
I want to say this really quick. If that answer for you is immediately no, I can't be alone, I think you need to be alone even more than anybody else. I challenge
I agree.
everyone. Yeah, like being alone is a very, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's almost like a self-healing. There's a lot of self-awareness.
It is. And it's being alone just really makes you look at yourself and heal yourself, I'm going to talk about this later, but I feel like until you do that, you're just going to carry your same issues and same demons inside of you into your next relationship. It all spills over.
Carrying that baggage.
Yes,
absolutely. You're just carrying those suitcases into another relationship. I see a lot of people do that.
Same.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. For me, that's what I was faced with when it came to Prince Charming. I loved Prince Charming very much, but staying him was too hard to do anymore. And the heartbreak and the scary unknown path was something that was easier for me than staying in that unhappy place.
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes it's hard to face your inner demons.
It is.
Yeah.
And it takes time. It's not like a overnight decision. Like, look how long it took me. I mean, let's see. It was about 6 months to where I really was like, okay, like it's over. Like, I think he moved out in November, and then it was April when it was like over. You know what I mean? Like, and it's hard to talk about these things. And I remember like I was standing in the kitchen and I was just like, I'm not in love with you anymore. And it was rough. It was a tough conversation. But like you get to a point where you just feel that and you have to move on. Like the alternative just was worse.
You do.
Staying it, so.
It is, absolutely.
It's also like when your heart finally catches up with your head and like common sense starts to kick in, right? It's like, I can't keep moving forward no matter how much love I have for this other person. And again, you can love someone and not be in love with them. And you can also love someone and leave them.
Well, I think with us too, is we always put everybody in front of us. So then we don't want to hurt other people. So that, I think that is a big part of it. It plays huge into it of you not wanting to hurt or let somebody else down.
Yeah.
But there you get to that limit though where it breaks and you're like, fuck it. Yeah, this is it.
Katina, I remember you writing me emails and you were like, you've reached your limit. You would say that to me like several times. And I was just like, I know. And it just every move, like it was closer and closer to like that breaking point, And I mean, it's really true. Like, are you in love with that person or do you just love them? Because, it's hard when you love someone. I mean, I remember it was a very sad and devastating moment telling him that like to his face. And, but there's a big difference between if you love someone or if you're in love with them, and you're going to know.
You do know. You know in your heart. You might not want to admit it, but you know.
For sure. So on TikTok, I follow this great account. It's called The Therapy Den. And I love this guy. Like he is just brutally honest. And he had some really great pointers for when he thought it was time to break up. So one of the questions he likes to ask is, why is it okay for you to be with someone who can't meet your needs? And I was like,
it's a good question.
That's fucking simple, right?
Yeah.
And it's
but a
true.
lot of people don't think it
that
way. They don't think about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then the next one was, stop being in a relationship for the potential that you think your partner has. Like you should never count on them changing. That was me to a T with Prince Charming for like the last year and a half of our relationship. I saw the potential. I saw the happily ever after. I saw me growing old with him. I really, girl, you knew when I first, I mean, that was it for me. And it was so devastating because I was like, fuck, like I can't love him anymore for the potential. Like I have to realize like he's not changing. And people usually don't change.
You can't change anybody. That's a fact.
It is.
They have to change themselves, and 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen.
And if they do change, it's only like 20% of the way. It's not like the 100% like you fucking want or need.
Yep. It's a tough thing. And if you see something good in somebody, I have the quote that I actually brought with me to watch out for red flags, that ignoring red flags because you want to see the good in people will actually burn you later. It is. It's going to hurt you later down the road.
It's so true.
And it is true.
Yeah. And it's the things you ignore at the beginning are the reasons why they tear you apart. It's so damn true. All right, this was a big one that he said, and I love this because I'll be honest with you, a lot of my cravers, I feel like they're on the fence. So he says, this relationship is not going to work while you sit on the fence deciding if you want to be in it. Do you know how many people I know sitting on a fence right now?
Yeah, a lot of, and I think a lot of that goes back to that familiarness. It's hard to break away from
that comfort zone.
Yeah.
But still, it's so true. Like, this it's not going to work while you're sitting there with, one leg on each side. Like, should you stay or should you go now? You got to fucking pick a side. And like, either way, until you're living in purgatory until you fucking do. And that's not going to do anything to benefit or move your relationship further. You either have to go all in with moving forward and working towards that relationship with the person or get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it's also really unfair to the other person as well.
It is, because you're leading them on. And I will say, when I went through my split with my ex, we agreed to live in the house together, even though we weren't together. And I think that gave him a lot of hope that I was going to change my mind, and led to a lot more fighting.
Yeah.
And I will say, for people that are married with kids, if you think you're doing it for your kids, it's better for them, it's absolutely not true.
I agree.
I tried to stay in through my youngest getting through high school, and I had to leave before then, unfortunately. It was bad for her. We actually get along now, but we didn't. And a lot of that, me staying for so long, was I was financially dependent, stay-at-home mom, when I was, realizing like, hey, this isn't going to work. So I would say for anybody out there, if you're in that kind of situation, make a plan.
Yeah.
Make a plan.
That's
what I did. Yeah. It took me years. I didn't just decide one day and then left. It was years of planning and knowing that this is what I was going to do.
And I will say, I saw that happen. Like, I saw your relationship with your ex-husband got so much better once you left.
It did. And I won't lie.
I'm jealous of it, actually. Cause it's
in the beginning, it wasn't like that.
I know, but
it took some time because he didn't want me to leave. But, we go to games, events. We help my daughter move into college together with my current partner. So we all hang out. It's, we're not like best friends, but we're on that level of
which is so
friendship,
great.
At least for, my youngest to get along, which I know is really hard for people, but you can get there. There's hope for that. So definitely.
I love to see it. I'll never have that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. And I know in all cases that's not going to happen. Like in your case, you're dealing with a narc, so that's just a no-win situation.
But can I tell you something though? That's the way it should fucking be.
Yeah, it should.
Let's
be about the kids. Yeah,
it's all about the kids, and that's how I feel. When I went to Virginia Beach, like my daughter spent all that time with her family because I'm like, that's her fucking family.
Absolutely.
I will always love and respect them as well. Like, what happened with, my ex-husband and I has nothing to do with that and the love for my child.
But you're the bigger person. Yeah, always. And you're always going to be the bigger person in that situation. And you generally care for her about what's in her best interest.
Right.
So,
and I always will.
Yeah. And I know it's tough, but there is hope. But I will say, for anybody that seems like, oh my God, I'm financially dependent, I can't leave, make a plan. You absolutely can. I was in that spot. It took me years, like over 5 years, to make a plan and execute it, but you have to start somewhere. So,
All right. So the next one, this one makes me laugh because this is so fucking me. It's if you're talking to others to give you the permission to break up, then it's time to give that permission to yourself. And here's what I'm talking about. So here's what I would do. So like something would happen. My life was like a endless cycle of like the event, and then smoothing over, and then like the weight, it's almost like a cycle of abuse. It was, right?
I do know.
Yeah. And so when something happened, I would call you, I would call Zach, I would call, all my friends, I would go down the line, and I'm like, and I would say they have the same fucking conversation. And it was just me trying to get like you guys, like trying to convince myself in some sort of way. I don't know. It was like this mind fucked weird cycle. It was so toxic and so bad. And I, looking back, like I really realized like all I was trying to do was for you guys to convince me like, hey, it's okay to leave. You know, I couldn't make the decision for myself.
I agree. And when that one incident happened, we were on that track that day. I was like, this is your get out of jail free card. Like,
wait, which one? Which relationship are we talking about?
When
I have two.
Yeah,
Prince Charming or my ex-husband?
Talking about ex-husband.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So with
that
the cheating.
Great.
Yeah. And I was like, here's your moment.
Oh, girl, it was my emancipation day. Holy shit. Like,
it was, but I was like, this is it. This is the sign you're looking for, that take it and run with it. Yeah. And I know with Prince Charming, that was a little tougher to make that break. Absolutely. But you did it. It sometimes it just takes a while to get your heart and your head to get all aligned. It absolutely does. Yes. But
I love that because I even have friends where I think to myself, oh, they just hung up with me and they're going to go talk to someone else about the same shit, you know? And it's like, all right, guys. Okay. So something else is you don't have to keep fighting to stay in a relationship. You just don't have to. Like, you can just stop and get the relief. You know, a lot of couples, like, their entire relationship is fighting to stay together. What's the point? Like, really think about it. Like, when I was looking back, you know, when Prince Charming and I talk a lot about him because my marriage is so far behind me and that shit's so over, but Prince Charming was hard for me. That was a brutal breakup for me. And I think about how fucking happy we were for a long time. And then all of a sudden, like, it just went downhill. And, you know, it's really fucking hard. And I feel like I spent the last year and a half just fighting to stay in it. Literally like clawing out of the fucking hole. Like, please, just like get me back to a safe and happy place. And it just would never happen.
If it's something you really want, it's tough to let go. Even when you see everything, it really is.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I was definitely in love with like the potential, you know, I definitely was. I can see that looking back now.
It's hard to let that go sometimes.
It is. And then another thing that he says to his clients, and I really like this, he said, it seems like you're deciding to be sad and stay in the relationship rather than deal with the unknown and get out. So something to really think about, like, question that to yourself. If you feel like you're in a relationship where maybe you're sitting on that fence, like, are you deciding to stay sad because you're scared of the unknown? You know?
I think a lot of people are in that position. Yeah. Especially like if you've been in a relationship for a really long time.
Yeah.
And you have kids, there's a lot of factors that make you think that way. But at the end of the day, you know, I will say after being married, you know, I was with my ex-husband, I think for 16, 17 years plus.
Wow.
Hard to make that break, especially when there's kids involved. But we were both so miserable. I think even looking back now, he didn't want me to leave, but I know that he's probably a lot happier
as well.
Yeah, because the friction and the fighting was all the time. And you have to look at that environment that if you do have kids that you're putting your kids through, it's not a good thing.
I agree.
Huge relief to them, you know, as well. Not easy to go back and forth between households, but worth it. You know, there's no screaming, no fighting. There's more security. There's more happiness, more better times than what there was before.
Yeah, and I think it's important for kids to see their parents happy and thriving. And one thing that I will say is that your kids only need one healthy parent to thrive. And if you're in that environment, you're not healthy. So the child has no healthy parents at that point. So it's something to really remember. Because I know a lot of people stay together for the kids, and
which is really bad.
It is.
It's really bad. Yeah, I've just been through a lot of therapy, and even my therapist said that. Like it's just the number one reason why you shouldn't stay if you're that miserable is because of your kids.
Right.
You're not doing them any favors staying together, honestly.
So I feel like I'm promoting breaking up.
Yeah, and we're not. I mean, not at all. If you're in a miserable situation.
Right.
So, I mean, definitely there's marriages and relationships where you can work things out, but more so we're talking about you're already at a point of, there's no return.
Right.
But you're sitting on the fence.
Exactly. And, we're talking about these breakups, but I want to talk about advice for when you're going through a breakup, because I feel like I've learned a lot in the last couple of months.
Yes.
And the first thing I want to say is you have to make it a clean break. And this includes several things. And by the way, I did not adhere to this. I let it drag on, which was a huge fucking mistake. Okay. So you got to delete the photos. You got to delete the emails and the texts. Like, you just have to.
Or you're staying connected if you're leaving them there. And their memory, you're constantly looking at this stuff, which is just, you don't need to. If it's done, why do you need to go back and keep looking at that?
It was brutal for me. Prince Charming and I took incredible vacations together. We traveled really amazing places, and deleting the photos was gut-wrenching for me. It was really fucking hard. And I didn't back them up anywhere. And I thought to myself, like, wow, it's gone. But you know what? At the end of the day, the memories are there. Like, I'm not going to forget all those times. It's just when I'm scrolling through my camera camera roll or like memories. Jesus Christ, the fucking Facebook memories and the fucking camera roll memories on this day. Like, fuck you. And you got to get rid of it.
You're not with him anymore. It's not like you need that memory to be popping up there.
Exactly. Like when you got to get rid of those reminders because it's just fucking painful.
It is.
You know, it's painful to do.
It's just another way of hanging on.
It is.
Yeah, it's got to go.
And then another thing that you really need to do is block them.
Yeah.
So, you know, Prince Charming was watching my stories. He was watching my Instagram and I had to block because I'm like, I don't want you to see that. You know, like it doesn't do any good. It's not going to do me any good. And it's painful. Someone that I loved so fucking much. And I think about this sometimes and it's gotten a lot easier. But I thought to myself, I love this man with all of my heart and soul for so long. And then he was my everything. And all of a sudden, I don't even know where he fucking lives. You know, I don't even know like where he rests his head at night. And this was a man that was like everything to me in my life. Like that's hard. You know what I mean? But it's better just to move forward. You got to protect your peace. You just have to. Another
I agree.
thing, like the social media thing, do not stalk their social media. And I'm going to be honest.
You're holding yourself from moving back at that point. You're doing no favors for yourself. You're just going 10 feet back instead of moving forward.
And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I did it. I did it up until, you know, even when I was stuck in the Bahamas, like, and that's recently, that's August, 2 months ago. I found myself, you know, and I was still actually friends with him on Facebook. And I deleted that when I got back because I was just like, okay, Adrian, like you got to stop looking. Because I would see, you know, his sister's my best friend. And so I would see a photo with her tagged in it. And it was fucking hard. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be there and that's not my life anymore. So, you know, and it's hard too. Because I thought to myself, like, I think I even said to you, like, Katina, should I reach out to him and tell him like, hey, I'm going to unfriend you? But no, like you fucking can't. You have to just
move you have to just do it. Yeah. Because then you're opening the door for a conversation. Absolutely not. Nope.
I saw this funny thing on TikTok. I'm sure people that are on TikTok have seen this before. And this girl says, guess what your ex is doing? No thanks. I had to do that the entire time we were dating.
Which is awful.
Which is funny, but it was just funny. And I just want to say too, you know, when you're like looking at their old social media or even like, I think you're still friends with him, which is fine. Like I'm not saying that any of my friends or anybody has to like, I don't agree with that at all. And I'm still friends with all of his friends, but you know, there's nobody reporting back to me being like, oh, well, you know, he's in a new relationship now, or, hey, look at this, he went there, or look at this like wedding he was in or whatever. No one's doing that to me. If a friend did do that to me, I'm going to consider the source of that friend. I know that you would never do that to me. You know, other friends that have mutual friends or whatever, like they would never do that to me. But I think it's important because remember, like people, I know that some of his friends listen to the show. Hi. Hi. I feel like we should just have like a one-on-one here, but it's not okay to go back to him and tell him things like he needs to move on too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
and that was happening for a while.
They're holding him back from moving on. And it's basically a thing of you need to ask yourself, is this going to help me or hurt me? Mm-hmm. If it's going to hurt you, then you know the answer.
Yep,
like,
agreed.
You know, delete it, get rid of it. Yeah. And I feel like those people are just starting a bunch of fucking drama.
I
like,
know.
yeah.
I have zero tolerance for that fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Drama mamas.
It was painful to unfriend him. Very, you know, he'll always have a place in my heart, but I've been so free since I did. So it was the best thing I ever did. So, and it works, you know, but I want to talk about something that's been happening. And there's actually a term for it because I kept like saying to you and complaining to you. It's called breadcrumbing. So breadcrumbing just equals pain when it comes to like breakups. Okay. So the definition of breadcrumbing from an ex can be defined as any form of direct or indirect communication, which may or may not imply that reconciliation is feasible. And I was like, oh shit, like that's happening to me right now. So it's like when an ex-partner gives you breadcrumbs, like he or she is basically sending you mixed signals, which convey the message that, hey, I'm thinking of you. And then in a simple way, it's like your ex just trying to make you vulnerable again. Like without him or without her even trying, they're making you vulnerable by leaving these breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbing can be many things. It can happen in many ways. For me, it was him leaving shit behind.
So leaving that door open.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So he like, you know, when he first moved out, I think I was just I just wanted him to leave. Like it was very, very painful, not in a good place. Like you can hear me in my previous episodes, like especially like the last time that I saw him when I like cried on my laundry room floor for like an hour and then cried in the shower and then cried myself to sleep, yada, yada, yada. And I don't fucking cry. it's painful, right? And then he has all this, I just wanted him like to just move out. And so I agreed to like leave a bunch of his stuff here, like 40 fucking boxes, right? And furniture and blah, blah, blah. And it was always hanging over my head. I want to share the story about what happened because it was funny. It kept being like, well, when are you going to come get your stuff? And then I'm going to come get it. But it's Katina, it's us communicating. It's another way for, like,
it's the foot in the door.
It
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
And I basically just said like, hey, like, you know, we got to take care of this. Like, and you know, he had my garage door opener and I'm like, bro, like I need my fucking garage door. Another thing that was starting to bother me is, you know, I have Baywatch in here and, you know, we're walking by all this shit in the garage and I'm like, oh, nothing to see here. Just my ex-boyfriend's shit still's here. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a piece of him is still here.
It is. And it's also painful to walk by it. You know, like Baywatch and I are like having an amazing time. I go out to the garage to get a beer, like in my extra fridge. And I'm like, boom, it's in my face.
It's a constant reminder.
It's a constant reminder. So I want to share the story about how just like, I wanted to share this because I swear to God, like you are everything to me and you're such a good fucking friend. And even like, I know that. And like, we've been friends forever, but you shocked me even this day. So let me tell you what happened. So I was like, he was like, all right, I'm going to come get my stuff. So I was at first going to let him come into the house and but then I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to move everything to the garage. Right. So moving everything to the garage. It's a lot of shit. And
it is like, a lot of shit.
Huffing and puffing. And it was very deja vu I was having because I remember my ex-husband when I was moving his shit out the fucking house. Like, by the way, no shacking up. Like, no more motherfuckers moving in with me. I'm done. You got the t-shirt. It's shredded. It's gone. It's like down to like a fucking rag now. Like, I'm done with
I will
shit.
just say the hammering of the Legos was epic.
Yeah, so
we'll go down in history as one of the best moments of me getting this video of a hammer to Legos.
Fucking Legos. I had had 2 Red Bulls. I took a Xanax and I was drinking vodka. No big deal. It was
no big deal.
Tuesday. Yeah. Fucking
I was
manic
like,
episode.
Should I go over there? Like, there might need to be an intervention at this moment.
So I was like, kind of like deja vu. So I'm moving stuff out. And I remember I sent you a recording and I was like, it was like a high school. I don't remember, but I was like, this motherfucker is probably, you know, at happy hour with his new fucking girlfriend. And I'm sweating my ass off, moving this shit for an hour. My back is fucking killing me. I've had 2 back surgeries. I don't have time for that shit. And I'm like pissed off, angry. You know, Uncle Mo is on his way over. God bless him. He's like, Adrian, I'm going to come help you. So then he and I are moving stuff. And it was so much stuff that I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to leave like these big bins downstairs. I couldn't lift them. And, you know, Uncle Mo, and I went to the garage. I fucking shotgunned a beer. I was like, fuck me. And then all of a sudden I'm like in the house and I'm just sitting there drinking a beer, just trying to calm down. Katina swings the door open. What did you say? I think you were like, get the fuck up.
Yeah, I was like, we're getting this fucking shit out of here today. And poor your daughter's on FaceTime with her dad because it's her birthday.
It's her birthday. I know. I'm like,
I'm like dropping the F-bomb. Like, we're getting this fucking shit out of here today. Because you were like, no. We're fucking moving it
You're
now.
Like, where is it? What are we doing? And Uncle Mo was like, I fucking love her. I was like, I know. Like, that's my fucking ride or die. Here she comes. Like, and it was so great.
But we got it out. You know what I mean? We got it out.
You said to me, you know, Adrian, I know you. And what you would have done is you would have been pissed off looking at it.
It would have haunted you.
Yeah.
And I knew that. Like, I knew you every time you walked past it, it was going to haunt you sitting there and piss you off. Yeah. And put you through all these emotions. Like, nope, fucking getting it out. It's out of here.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Like, I swear to God, I was like, oh my God. It was so funny. Then we went out for Mexican and
it was a great night.
It was. Partied and it was a great night. And I will tell you, it felt amazing and everything's out now. It's fucking refreshing. I feel free. There's no more ties. I have no reason, you know, for him to reach out or me to reach out to him. And, you know,
it's done.
It's
like,
done.
It's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it needs to happen.
Yeah. That foot's not in the door anymore. You don't have to worry about his shit. Yeah. Yeah. That reminder's gone.
It is. So that's another thing. You know, I really thought that Prince Charming and I could be friends. I really did. But no matter what, you can't fucking be friends with your ex. Maybe in a few years, you know, like he's not someone that's going to be out of my life forever. His family's my family. They were before we got together, and that's not going to change.
It takes time. That's even time. Like we were talking like with my ex that it's a very sore raw spot for a long time, and until you both move on, that's you know it's not going to happen.
Yep.
It's not healthy right away either.
I agree.
Yeah. So to focus on you.
I want to say too, like, breaking up, advice to remember is that it's not a linear process. There's many days where you feel like you're nailing it. Life is good. I just said, I feel fucking amazing and have like a lot of contentment lately, and you're enjoying your freedom. But then there's other days where, you're not so well. And like, you get sad sometimes, like something pops up or you have this
song
memory.
will come on. Yeah. And just takes you back to that time and moment.
I still cannot hear that stupid song, The Weeknd's Call Out My Name, because we were in Barbados when the song came out, and it just was like the most awesome time and like this mood and the setting. We were drinking on the beach. Like, I still can't listen to it. It's just too painful,
One day you will, though.
Yes.
And that'll be you'll make a different memory for that
Yep,
song.
it's true.
Yeah.
But I say this all the time on the show, like, it's okay to not be okay. Like, it's okay to go through that and to have those days and those moments. Like, that's part of the healing process. Right.
Yeah, it does. It takes time.
You got to heal. No, hold on. You got to feel to heal.
Yes.
And give yourself the time to do so. And something like I was saying before, like that therapist said, you can address your issues in this relationship or in the next one. Take time to work on yourself. It's really rare to have this much freedom to truly focus on yourself. Now's the time. Now's the time to do so. And, you said it. Self-awareness is a huge thing. Look in that mirror and be really honest with yourself and love yourself and learn and grow during this time. There's a lot to be learned in this breakup period,
Yeah, if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else?
Right.
Yeah,
And
so you really need to be okay and square with you before you bring anybody else into your life.
And I will say that my 60-day no-D diet, as hard as it was, because that's my thing, how I roll, it really taught me a lot about myself. And one of the biggest thing I learned, like my self-awareness, is that I move way too fucking fast. It's like, I don't give myself the time to get to know someone. I just want to go all in, jump in with both feet. And I really need to learn how to pace myself.
Yeah, because it takes time to learn all those things about people
that
will get on your nerves and those little red flags that maybe you don't see right in the beginning. So it takes time to see those things.
Yep. I'm also like, I have learned that I need to keep it completely real when it comes to my sexual needs, wants, and desires. Like, I know that I'm out there. I know that. And it's going to take a special person to tame this beast. But I mean, I'm looking for my brat tamer out there. But, I can't hide that anymore. I hid that in my last two relationships. And now I'm like, no, like I have to be honest with myself and honest with my partner about it. I mean, especially with Prince Charming, I did not let my freak flag fly. And then like a year into it, I'm like,
yeah, because that's settling.
Yep.
Then you're settling.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not called compromising. That's settling. Absolutely.
And I think along with your age, and maturity, like, well, for most of us, hopefully most of us, you become self-aware and honest with yourself in ways that you can improve. And then you can be ready for, your next relationship. I also want to say too, like in breakups, like you don't win in a breakup.
Yeah, nobody wins. There's no winning party. And there's no victory.
You don't need to look like you have it all together. You don't have to make your social media look like you're just so fucking happy to like prove it to everyone that you're okay. You know what I mean?
Can I just tell you, there are so many motherfuckers on Facebook that I know right now personally are like confessing their undying love to their married partner, and I know they're fighting behind the door. So keep that shit off social media, because then those are the same people that get mad when they're breaking up. People all in their shit, and they're like, "Why are you in my shit?" Well, that's because you posted it all over social media. So and you see it every day, all day.
I know, girl.
Who are you trying to convince that
themselves?
Yeah.
Yep. After they call all their friends, they got to put it on social media for that gratification as well. Yeah,
it's annoying.
It is. Also, I just want to say, like, if your ex moves on quickly, it has nothing to do with like your position or your success in relationships in life. In fact, I'm going to put it out there, someone who jumps right back into a relationship, it's just a simple sign that like they can't be alone. There's always those people that can never be single. Yeah. And that has nothing to do with your progress. Like, take that time to process, to heal, to grow and glow up. Like,
it has nothing to do with you.
No,
it's all about that person and their issues. Has nothing to do with you.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, I think like your ultimate goal, like, the best advice I could give you for when like you're healing and you're moving on from a breakup is, and your breakup plan is to become indifferent to your ex. We don't care what they think anymore. Save your energy for your strategy. Internalize that energy and watch what it can do for you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I want to just say that If you're going to get into a new relationship, just make sure you've had that time to self-heal. Proper vetting is a huge thing. If you don't have or know your self-worth, you're not going to pick somebody that's good for you.
So fucking true. Like what you put out is what you're going to get back. Big believer in that. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Because I feel like you have been a big reason why I am taking this time for myself. Like even in 2017, after my divorce, I jumped right into a relationship with Prince Charming. And I'm taking this time right now. Like, yes, I'm fucking Baywatch and I'm looking for another primary. Like having casual relationships I'm not looking for
it's totally different though. Yeah.
I'm having fun, but I know I'm not ready to be in a relationship. And one of the things I really want to work on is not only myself, but learning how to vet new potential relationship partners. So let's talk about that. And like I said, like first and foremost, are you healed? Have you taken the time to heal, learn, and grow from your last relationships? Whatever struggles within yourself that you don't work on now are going to spill right on into your next one.
You're carrying that baggage, taking those suitcases with you.
Yep.
Strolling them along.
Yep. Dragging them. For me, I think, my biggest issue, like I said, was moving too fast and also hiding my sexual desires. I really have never been completely honest with someone that I was in a relationship with because I was fearful of being shamed for it. And to be honest with you, I kind of was. Like I talk about the story when I asked Prince Charming for a sex swing for Christmas and he was like, "Oh my God, ew, why would you want that?" And I was so upset because I was like, that's my thing. Like I want to fuck like that. And I'm into that kind of stuff. And I immediately like shut down and was like, don't talk about that.
Yeah, well, because then you feel shame like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely not the case.
Yeah, like I'm still working and learning, to never hide my true self again. And for me, it's like, love me or hate me, I'm going to be okay. And ultimately, at the end of the day, like you have to be your true, authentic self in order to be happy. Someone else can't make you happy.
No, and you have to not give a shit what other people think about you. That's part of knowing that you love yourself, that you don't give a shit about what other people think, say about you. You're living to your own full potential, not what somebody else wants you to be or wants you to do. And that's really important. That's huge.
And that comes with age too. Like I really don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me.
Yeah, when I was younger, I did. Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah. It was hard. I wouldn't even leave my house without makeup on. And now I roll up in the gym. If I have makeup on, it's a good day because now I just, ball cap, no makeup. I don't care. Yeah, our uniform, our gym uniform. I just do not give a shit anymore.
Neither do I. It feels fucking amazing too.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very freeing. All right. So let's talk about the biggest thing I think I need to work on when it comes to vetting new people. Test the waters first. Like, do not rush. Like, and can I tell you, like, I feel like my sex drive is mostly to blame for my rushing. That bitch gets the best of me every single time. Like, I've been calling her Susie lately. I don't know, like whatever. I need to like have a good name for her, but it's like, quit fucking around, Adrienne. Like, stop letting her rule your world. She gets so angry though. But I need
Susie's out of control.
I know. I need to take the time, like I was thinking and looking back and I realized, my first real relationship with my ex-husband, I was love bombed. Like that was a typical thing. Head over heels. Like literally, I remember like the week we got married, I was like, oh shit's done changed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I fell for it, yep, you won. Then immediately following my separation, I jumped right into my serious relationship with Prince Charming. And I was looking for that safe and comfort place so desperately. I ignored a ton of red flags and then I paid for them ultimately later, so taking the time, getting to know someone. And one of the biggest things is, don't think you're actually in love yet at first. Like,
yeah, there's a difference between lust and love. And I think everything's lust in the beginning.
Like you feel like you're in love, but you're not. And it's hard to hear that. But you know what? Until you find out the annoying shit about them, and once you see all the shit, and then you're still wanting to deal with, like, it's funny because I think I've said to you, I'm like, it's just how long you want to put up with someone's fucking shit. You know what I mean? But I think once you are able to accept the person for who they are, that's what really what love is.
It is. Yeah. Because you would love them even at their most annoying moments. You're like, I'm still okay with this. But if they're getting on your nerves and you're like, I'm going to drive a steak knife in that person's head right now, it's time to leave. Just saying. Right.
And, you have to give the time to allow people to show you who they are. And then when they do show you, You have to fucking believe them.
You have to go with your gut. And I feel like I really stick with this. Like I have a great gut instinct. And if somebody is showing you their true colors, you feel it. You might ignore it, but I think deep down.
I know. And I'm going to tell you, everyone, part of my vetting process is going to be they have to meet you. And it's going to be like a pre-screen. And then they're going to have to meet Uncle Mo because he's, he looks out for me as well. And it's fucking true because, I mean, I've talked about it on the show. It's one of the biggest regrets I have, like, in life. And that's, like, the only time I ever, like, had an argument with you was because you told me the truth about Prince Charming. You said it right away. And I was just like, I was so upset. But I knew, my gut, I knew it was true. And that's why it hurt so bad. So that
we live and learn.
You're in for the job, just so you know. Your first meeting is going to be like a job interview.
Yeah, it hasn't always been like that. I mean, I had bad picks myself. So I know a lot of times people pick bad partners for circumstances and reasons. Both my parents are addicts. One's, recovered. My mom is. My dad was in a bad car accident when I was younger, but I didn't have self-esteem. So first husband was an addict because that was familiar to me. Yep. Second husband I picked because I needed stability and security and picked things because I thought that's what was going to be good for my life and my kids, but not because I was,
not for you.
Not for me. And so it's really taken, I feel like we've both learned and, living through this, being on the track, talking things out, on Sunday mornings. And that's
holding
how
your hair
grow.
back while you're throwing up.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Every lap around getting sick. But yeah, and I know other people are in those, situations, but the self-love is such a huge thing. I mean, it really is. And because that's how you learn to vet somebody, spending time with that person, spending time with their family, with their friends. What are their work habits? Is their house clean? If you're an organized person, that was a big thing for me. Yes. So those, and you may be a messy person and messy's fine, but for me, I'm super organized. So a messy person, when was vetting the person I'm with now, I was checking out his house,
right.
how clean is this? Does this look like it was just done? Like, I'm not putting up with that again. So
something else I'm going to say too is, and I am happy to welcome anyone into my life, any other children in my life, like, as consider, the inventory. But I will say something that's important to me is that a man, if he has children, I want to see that really good father, role.
Relationship.
Because that's really important to me. I want someone that has a great relationship with their children, and hopefully, I know it's not possible in all cases like mine, but if they have a great relationship with their ex, I'm all for that as well.
Yeah, it makes things a lot easier. Yeah, and it shows you that person's putting their kids first and not their own needs. A lot of times when people go through breakups with kids, it becomes about them and not ideally the kids, and that's tough. And I've been there and done that, so I'm not even innocent in that. My first marriage breakup, that, he cheated, and I was just so venomous about it. Like, I wanted revenge. I was so mad. And I didn't keep the kids from him in that instance, but there were a lot of arguments that happened in front of them that I wish I could take back. Yeah. Because I was so mad and angry.
No one's a perfect, I'm not a fucking perfect mother. Look, I'm like mother of the year over here. Okay. Like, I am not. My daughter has like a vibrator in her fucking dollhouse right now. Like, we are not
fucking
talking
rabbit.
about perfection. She thinks the cleaners gave it to her.
When your sister was here a couple weeks ago, I thought it was the baby's teething toy, and I was like, oh my God, that's that fucking rabbit. I gotta stay away from that. I almost picked it up and gave it to him, and I was like, oh no, that's the special toy.
Oh my God.
Special toy. But no, we all live and learn, but just given, tips so, people know, and breakups, those are things you should think about most definitely. But vetting a new person, definitely, I think we've both learned a lot, from that. It took me a long time. And in my relationship now, I went really slow. Like, I was just really scared and timid, to go all in. So,
and you also, I remember a point, and I'm not trying to put your relationship out there, but I remember a point where you literally laid down, like, and it's about core values, Uncle Mo and I talk about, you laid down a core value of yours to him. And I think he was like, I need to think about this. You were like, think about it then. And I think you guys didn't talk for like 2 weeks. You remember that?
Yeah. And I basically needed an answer to something. He's like, I got to think about it. And I was like, okay, you do that. But I had one foot out the door. I was like,
you're like, I'm not moving forward without this. But it's so fucking smart of you. Yeah. And also it makes the other person like, level up. Like, this bitch ain't playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, communication's a big thing too. Like, if you can't communicate with your partner about sex, about kids, about money, you're in big trouble.
Oh, yeah.
You're in really big trouble. So
I will tell you, one of the, like, most, I talk about all the time, Baywatch is so refreshing. Like, he and I sat outside on the patio for like an hour because we're talking about like getting into the lifestyle together and have fun, which I'm all about. And we just like laid it out. Like, how would you feel about this? And he was just so fucking normal. And he even said to me, he was like, you know, Adrian, this like whole little thing we got going on, he's like, it's fucking awesome. I was like, hell yeah, it is. Like, it's just refreshing because everything's out in the open.
There's no expectations.
Yeah. And also like, we just are so
There's no
free.
pressure.
Yeah. We're so free to talk to each other about everything. I feel like, I'll be honest, I'm going to get to a premonition here. All right. So I feel like I'm going to stick with the young ones. Like, I think that's going to be my thing.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's just going to be my fucking thing. I don't think, 26 years old, but and I fucking adore Baywatch. He knows that. But I think I'm going to like have like and I think what's going to happen is I'm going to start this thing with this young guy, and then he's going to grow on me, and he's going to like level up and be like, all right, like I just have a feeling that's going to happen. And then I'll have that foundation of full communication, and this is how I fucking am. I'm not holding back. You know what I mean?
Could happen. You could be grooming them to be better partners for somebody down the road too. So
I'm happy to do that. Let me tell you something. Like I tell, like Baywatch and I talk, and I love this. Like he's had a lot of firsts with me, and I fucking love that. Like I'm like, this is so fun. Like breaking him in, and I tell him too. I'm like, you are a beautiful, amazing man. You are going to have a gorgeous wife one day. And make beautiful babies, like he definitely will. But I tell him, I'm like, make sure you don't settle, because you are a wild, an amazing fucking person. I think I even said to him, like, don't dull that sparkle inside of you. Like, don't ever do it, because you're gonna find yourself, and you know what I mean. Like, just you're ahead of the game now. Like I'm giving you like a
giving him an edge.
Yes, for sure
on the game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, I want to wrap up with mentioning 3 things I think people should come to terms with in regard to relationships and breakups in general. So number 1, if they wanted to, they would. Period. There's nothing else to say about that statement. And whatever you're talking about, if they want to, they will. Okay. Number 2, no response is a response.
It is.
Big time. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of things that you might say to your partner or want from your partner and they just ignore them, that's a response.
It is a response. Ignoring, yes.
Yep. And number 3, this is a big one for me. I feel like changed behavior is the only real apology. I can't tell you how many times you can hear, I'm going to change. I'm going to get better. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to win. I'm going to do this for us. You're everything to me. Like, I'm going to make this work, and whatever it takes. And it doesn't matter. Those words mean nothing if there's not changed behavior. I think
I sent you a meme about that one time. I had posted on my story. Basically, it's saying an apology with no changed behavior is strictly manipulation. And that's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it fucking is. Absolutely. Oh, man, we are like, I feel like this is amazing. And I really do hope that, like, if my cravers out there are going through something like this, like, we can give them an edge or help someone who's struggling, because it's not an easy place to be.
It's not an easy place to be for men or women. It's a very tough thing. A lot of people struggle through it or hide it because they feel shame. Like, I went through that with my first marriage. I felt like I'm going to be such a failure. I'm going to be another stat. You can't look at it that way.
Oh, I know.
You have to do what's most healthy for you.
Absolutely. Well, Katina, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Love you, sister.
Today. I love you so much. Like, you're riding shotgun next to me during this incredible transition in my life. And I can't thank you enough for the
love
constant
you so much.
Love. I love you so much too. And support. Everyone needs a Katina in their life. I swear, I feel like I haven't had much luck with men in my life. But when it comes to friendship, I hit the jackpot with you.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Thank you.
Love you, girl. I'm so proud of you. You've just taken off with this.
Thank you.
I'm so incredibly proud of you.
Thanks, girl. All right, Cravers. So tomorrow night, I am attending a lifestyle dinner.
Can't wait to hear about this one.
Yes, and I am really enjoying learning more about it, and I will definitely be sharing more about what I think, what I learn, or what I get myself into, because I'm getting myself into it. Okay, it's fucking happening.
Stay tuned.
Yes. I'm also trying to talk my friend to coming on the show and talking about her experience, because it's just so fascinating to me. I want to learn more about it.
It is your last episode. I loved. It was really intriguing, very informative.
They
something
were
I knew nothing about. So
Same.
Yeah.
I adore them. I can't wait to see them again. And who knows like what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks, but one thing's for sure, I'll be here and I'll be sharing, and I hope you're ready for more.